So today we discuss about the pivot table. In the pivot table, we discuss the dynamic range. Okay. One problem, when you apply the pivot table and make the some report, you have get the some problem. First, just I have just make the one pivot table here. Okay. Now in the data, I have add something. Okay. New row add, and we have right here new category reference. But when you pivot table, I have refresh here, my new category not coming here, because when you apply the pivot table, my pivot table apply the 186 row. So pivot table can't increase its data rows, data source. Okay. How can update? We have two ways. First, we go to the pivot table, analyze, and manually change data source here, and change data source, and we have select and again select the entire row of data. Okay, but this is the manual procedure. Every time you need to change the source. But second thing, we make the automations. How can we make the automations? We have two ways. First, we select the data and go to the table. Click here, table. In the table, you just press OK. You can see my data convert into table. Now we have create the pivot table. So pivot table create by our table, not a data range. So when you table increase, my pivot table also increase. But I not recommend it because sometimes have a problem with the tables. Okay. So we have choose the functions formula. We can go through the formula. Okay. So how can I apply the formula? So right here offset formula. You can see carefully. Offset. We apply the formula offset and select the reference, the start of the data. And you want to skip some row? No. Skip some column? No. So we have entered the 0. And height of data. So now need to one formula. Now need to one formula to calculate the number of rows, which rows have a data field. Okay. So in the Excel have a formula count A. Count A. And we have select the entire column. Again count A. Again select the entire row. Okay. Now press the enter. You can see the data. So for understand what does with the offset. So now we have applied the sum formula for the understanding the formula. How can check the formula procedure? Go to the formula menu bar, click here evaluate formula. So click here the formula 187 is the count 12. So in the offset start from A1, 0 row and 0 column, and total number of row, it means height is the 127 and width is the number of column 12. So offset give you the address of your data. Address of your data. Okay. So now we have again apply here once again. You can see offset equal offset, select this comma 0 row 0 column, height we apply the count A, select the entire column, again count A, select the entire row and press the enter. Got the data? We have select here. Now need to freeze. We press F4. This is the F4 and this is the F4. Okay. Now select this, copy and go to the formula and select the define name. This is the data and paste. Okay. Paste the formula. Then okay. Now we want to apply the pivot. Go to the insert pivot table and just apply here data. Okay. Now we have applied this like sales channel and quantity. And when I have put the new data in the row, just like in the reference one, and when you we have just refresh here, so reference will are coming. So need to refresh only. But I do want to not refresh every time. So right click here, go to the pivot table options. In the pivot table options, have a data segment, refresh when you opening the file. So when you open, refresh automatically. So no need to refresh every time. Okay. So do you understand dynamic range pivot table? What is the dynamic range pivot table? Now we discuss about the slicer and filtration. So when you make the pivot table, we have need to give me the name. So I have made the one pivot table right here. I want to apply the filter on this row sections. I do not want to show the reference one, reference and reference one. I want to show add to online. So that time, suppose this is select here, click here this filter icon and go to the reference and reference one and just press the OK. Now you can see app distribution in house and online only for show here. Also, I don't want to show some month. So we have select here and this apply and apply. Right? But I want to check the entire pivot according my one filtration. This is the filter section. We have select the region and put the filter. We just select here the central. So entire pivot convert in the central. But one problem in this feature. Sometimes we have need to make the multiple pivot with same data. Just like this is the quantity analysis. I want to the amount analysis. Which app, which month, how many amount will be sold. So if you drop my amount in the value sections, so my pivot is the very horizontal, very large, and don't sure we have applied the chart and anything. So we need to create one by one. Okay. So again go to the data. Now no need to go to the data. We select here and just pivot table and apply here data. Write here data and just okay, your pivot will be created because we have already created dynamic range pivot. Okay. Now we have make same report here. This is the sales and now scroll the month here and also quantity here and go to this and okay, and not a quantity, the amount we have to put the amount. But one problem here, if when you change the pivot from central, so only for central will change, no change in my amount. Okay, so one pivot table one will be changed, pivot table two is not changed. Okay, so how can we connect this pivot to also this pivot and also more pivots? So that time we have used the slicer. So go to the click on the pivot, go to the pivot table, analyze and select the insert slicers and you can choose your say EMP, product, regions and okay. So this is the graphical filtration will be come here. Okay. Now just click the central, or central will change, but change only for this data. Below is not changed. Okay. So below is no change. So how can connect all the this pivot also? Okay. So that time just click here the second pivot table, go to the pivot table, analyze, and this is the filter connection. But filter connection is disabled. Oh, uh, this pivot, this connected directly, and this is the from DT. So need to connect again the pivot, because I have connected the pivot to two different mode, data, and now sales channel and quantity here, sales channel here, and monthly. Okay, and again here, again create pivot table here, data, then okay. Now again sales channel here, quantity here, and monthly. Okay. Now select your one pivot table, go to the analyze, insert slicer, regions, EMP, which one do you have make the pivot, make the slicer, you can select here. Now my slicer will connect with one pivot. Okay, one pivot, but I want to select also connect your second pivot. Just click your second pivot, go to the pivot table, analyze. Now you can see here filter connection will be activate. So filter connect, click here filter connections, click the EMP and regions, and just press OK. Okay. Now you can see both of pivot are activated. Okay. And also we have make the charts, graphs here. So we have make the graph here, switch, cut, and go to the next another sheet. So we have put my chart to another sheet. Okay. And we just filter apply here. And also with the design, pivot to analyze. No, sorry, filtration. Okay. And again select here, and again make the one chart also. And cut this chart and go to the sheet 4 and paste it. So two different chart, two different pivots. Okay, but data will same. So we have analyzed one pivot through the quantity and second pivot through the amount. You also go to the design section and change my pivot, HMA chart. And now we have just select this, use the control button and click the your slicers, select and cut here and go to the paste on the your sheet number 4. Okay, you can see here. So when you select the center, both are the chart will be affected. Okay, why? So when you click the center, in the sheet 3 have a two pivot, and both are the pivot connected with my slicer. Okay, so both our filter will be, both our table will be filtered and data will show. Okay, this clear? But problem is that when you use the timeline date, when you use the date for the filter, have a problem, because if you slicers, you select the date in slicer, so you can see this type of the date. But I suggest you have, when you have date, you want to filter with date, so go to the slicer, choose the timeline, insert timeline. And select this timeline work only for the date. Select here, then okay. And use like selection. You can also filter here the quarters. So quarter will be selected here. You can multiple quarter here. Slice timeline. So now we have discussed the two topics. First, you can how can make the dynamic pivot table, and second thing we discuss about the slice. How can slice? So here is the normal pivot table will finish. Okay. So from tomorrow we have start the dashboard class, pivot dashboard. So 4 to 5 classes for the pivot dashboard. How to make the pivot dashboard with the pivot table. Okay, from tomorrow. So today the small topic. So now finish here.